Welcome to EP Daily. Today on the show, James Bond and Batman join forces in the rundown.
Plus, we share our true feelings on Season 2 of True Detective.
Just one question. Am I supposed to solve this or not?
And then Jose takes us into the darkest depths of the next Destiny expansion, The Taken King. Also coming up, we have more Destiny action with a look back at the launch version of the game. We take on another sci-fi shooter franchise with Halo, Spartan Assault, and Spartan Strike, and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. I'm a triple threat. It's time for the rundown. James Bond is about to embark on his deadliest mission yet, to Broadway. The producers of the 007 film franchise have announced that they're developing a live Broadway stage show featuring the character. Known as James Bond the Musical, it will tell an original storyline not directly based on any of the films, but it will include familiar characters, gadgets, and diabolical plots. Many other movies like Little Shop of Horrors, The Lion King, and Spider-Man have already made the leap to Broadway with mixed results. James Bond the Musical is slated to open on Broadway in late 2017 or early 2018. The next film in the franchise, Spectre, arrives November 6th.
Welcome, James. It's been a long time.
My favorite game of the year so far is about to get bigger. The first big batch of DLC for Batman Arkham Knight will launch on Tuesday, July 14th for season pass holders, and a week later for those who buy it separately. Known as Batgirl, a matter of family, the pack lets players take control of Batgirl, making this her first time playable in an Arkham game, although she has appeared and been heard several times before.
Already working on it.
She'll embark on a new story campaign that the developers promise will feature an all-new location with multiple missions, side quests, and secrets, along with a new hacking mechanic to progress through the world and solve puzzles. Many gamers complained about the price of the season pass when it was announced earlier this year, so hopefully there will be enough new content to keep them happy. More new DLC for Arkham Knight will continue to roll out for the next 6 months.
Be careful. It's not looking good out there.
Batman stuff, James Bond stuff, a couple of my favorite topics. Here is one of my favorite people, Marissa Roberta, to talk about them with me. Of course.
You must be losing your mind over this news.
It's geek sort of Nirvana stuff every single day. There's so many awesome things happening all the time.
Your
it's
life
crazy.
is good every day.
Every day, yes. I've always got this smile on. All right, so Batgirl DLC. I'm super excited. It's the Barbara Gordon Batgirl.
Right, so that it would have happened
She's awesome before, yes.
Okay, we don't want to spill anything.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happened before. Sure, love Batgirl. Let's see it happen. I like it. I'm excited. I know you're really excited. But do you feel like you have to play the full game first? Like, do you want to finish the
Why
Batman?
wouldn't anyone do that?
I don't know.
Of course you want to finish the full game first because there's some shout-outs, there's some throwbacks to some of the reasons why you would want to play as Batgirl in this. Arkham Knight is so damn good and it's so robust and experienced that this DLC track that they're on is going to be really good because I think the city of Gotham that they've created for us is so much fun and you can see that there's a lot of stories that could be built in different directions, and I'm excited as hell to review this.
Of course, we're gonna get our hands on it for sure. But something else I'm actually even more excited to hear about is a musical starring James Bond.
Watch out, it's our job. Look out, Jaws.
How do you like your martini? Shake and a stir.
Are they gonna do fake Sean Connery singing accents?
So ridiculous.
So, my name's Bond, James Bond, and then, come here, Octopushy.
Okay, we're making fun of this because we think it's going to be really silly, but maybe it could be good.
I think it'll be cool. I mean, this is such a stylish franchise. There's so many cool keystone and touchstone type of elements throughout the whole franchise that I think they're going to be able to create something really cool on stage. Maybe they'll even have the Moonraker version where everybody's hovering with wires and stuff, shooting with laser guns. So I think that's going to be part of the charm. I think it's going to be incredibly successful.
Okay, well, let's just table that.
When we get there into New York one year when it's playing, we all have to go as a group because that will be too much fun.
Of course, yes.
All right, but right now we've got to take a look at something that might not be that fun. It might be a little bit dour, actually. It's
really
True Detective Season 2. We've seen a couple episodes. Here's our review.
Just one question. Am I supposed to solve this or not?
HBO didn't send us review copies of True Detective Season 2, and I think it's probably because you and Scott and I were not big fans of True Detective Season 1. So we're
Well-
following along with this series just like everybody else is. What do you think so far?
I will say off the top that it's better than the
Yes,
first season,
yes.
for sure. I'm just trying to decide if it's better for me because of a few actors in the show
Mm-hmm.
that I'm enjoying so much. I love Taylor Kitsch on television.
Yeah.
Taylor Kitsch, I think he's fantastic. And
Burning intensity,
He's
smoldering.
smoldering intensity. You see his butt in the first episode. That was interesting. Also, Rachel McAdams. I mean, she is a Canadian treasure. I absolutely love her as well.
I'm commanding officer of this detail. You call me, you got something.
That's the thing with the show. It's so serious. It is
It's a
so.
pout festival.
You do not laugh. You do not smile while you watch the show.
No, and it's a laborious grind, and I certainly felt that of the first season. There's lots of artistic kind of reach in the first season, and it ultimately became a successful thing, even for me, watching the entirety of the first run. But we had to sit through so much McConaughey and his nihilistic speechifying inside of the car, and there is some of that this time.
I welcome judgment.
Set in this fictionalized, very industrial subsection of Los Angeles called Vinci, which is completely overrun with corruption, and all kinds of really gross people are in there. And hovering in amongst them is this mover and shaker played by Vince Vaughn. And he's always interesting to watch, but he has to do some of this nihilistic speechifying.
Yes.
And that got a little dreary.
The house and the poker room were double mortgaged.
Colin Farrell and Taylor Kitsch and Rachel McAdams all play different cops that are put together in this case where this high-ranking politician has been murdered.
This man's a missing person with us.
Bezaritas, Ventura Sheriff, CID.
Paul Woodrew, CHP.
They're trying to solve the murder and also try to get to the heart of all the corruption that exists within Vinci.
Sure.
But some of the cops are in on some of the corruption, and some of the cops are just complete bystanders. Taylor Kitsch plays this twisted motorcycle cop that his whole agenda here is just to get back on the bike.
He just wants to get back on the bike. Well, he's had some messed up things happen to him, which he starts to talk about a little bit, or his girlfriend starts to talk about a little bit. You don't really learn a lot about these people until later into the second episode. The first episode, I had no freaking clue what was going on. I didn't know who these people were. They were having these conversations that I couldn't really follow. I feel like I had to watch it again because maybe I was missing something.
Well, I think that's the appeal of the show, is that it turns you into a true detective as you're watching the show, because it is elaborately written, and there are some interesting surprises, and anybody that's seen the second episode knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's creepy, and there's also this kind of Robert Town-esque Chinatown script quality over the way that they're setting up all of the mousetraps in the show. So I'm a little bit more hooked this time. It feels like the stakes have been raised. I think there's more interesting characters.
You want honest? Tell me, how compromised are you?
I just believe in the acting so much more, and I believe in the story just a little bit more because it does have me involved. Like, I really am intentively listening to these conversations. I really want to know what's happening next. Am I depressed after? Yes, absolutely.
All the people look depressed, and they're all pouty, but they're more interesting, broken human beings than what I felt was very superficial, broken human beings in the first season. It's more interesting. I think that's just the case. It's just a more interesting sort of way that they're putting all of this together.
Season. So yeah,
Are
we'll
you
see
staying?
where it goes. I'm staying.
All right, what are you going to give it so far?
So far, I get to 7.5.
It's an 8 for me. So I've seen the third episode. You haven't seen the third episode yet. I'm really digging this season. I think this is a great direction for them to go.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that I'm enjoying it because last season I did not.
Well, we've got more Destiny. It's the Taken King after the break.
Forex is coming, Guardian. You got his attention.
Welcome back to EP Daily. You know, we haven't talked about Destiny in a while.
Wait a second, Marissa Roberto. Let me talk about Destiny. Victor Lucas, he is an A player at E3 2015. So am I. We got a behind-the-scenes, hands-on with the Taken King, and we also got free sandwiches and ginger ale.
Wow.
So that's who we are.
Okay, you must be very proud.
Yeah.
This next story does not promise free sandwiches or ginger ale, but it does promise more on the Taken King.
There is something cooking in the world of Destiny. We are talking about the Taken King. What exactly is the Taken King? Is he a mad guy? Is he somebody that I'm going to have to thwart and defeat?
Well, the Taken King as a game is the first major expansion in the Destiny universe, and it kicks off the year 2 of Destiny. Oryx is the Taken King. He's an ancient, powerful Hive Lord who's come to this system on a mission of revenge and brought with him an army of taken soldiers. These are combatants that have been taken from our dimension, ripped away, twisted and corrupted and changed, given new powers and abilities, and sent back to do his bidding with a single goal in mind, and that's to get revenge for the death of his son, Crota, at your hands.
Oryx is coming, Guardian. You got his attention. Now, go get his head.
This is the kickoff for year 2 of Destiny. What does that mean to the gameplay features themselves? Are you guys making any tweaks, anything changing?
Oh yeah, we're making tons of changes in the Taken King. We have a brand new campaign that's focused on you finding and tracking down Oryx and his capital ship, the new destination in the Taken King. It's a giant, inscrutable, loot-filled fortress. You know, if he's a Dracula, then this is his castle. And there's a whole host of new strikes, public events, patrols, and a brand new 6-player raid. But lastly, if you're gonna fight the new face of evil, you're gonna need new powers. There are 3 new classes in the Taken King. We have the Sunbreaker, the Stormcaller, and the Night Stalker. Each of them comes with new abilities and new powers. With the Legendary Edition of the Taken King, it comes with Destiny 1, the Dark Below, and the House of Wolves expansions, as well as the Taken King. So it's really the perfect time for new players or for returning players.
The Taken King expansion comes out this September.
You know what? That was so fun. Let's actually stop the show, go back in time to when Jose and Ben reviewed Destiny in its original form. Here's the review.
Ben and I are here to talk about one of, if not the biggest releases of 2014 in the world of games, Destiny.
Well, I gotta say, like everybody in the gaming world, I was so excited. I've been anticipating Destiny. It was like one of our favorite games from E3. Been following it, been playing the beta.
Played the alpha, played the beta.
Played all kinds.
Now the finale, the delta, the gamma.
We've played so much of Destiny already that when I booted it up, well, I already know what I'm doing
Did
here.
this.
Yeah.
Nailed this part.
I was waiting for the surprise. I was waiting to find out what were they holding back from the beta that we were going to get in the final build. And as it turns out, not a lot.
Yeah,
no,
not much.
I mean, that's the story with Destiny. This is a game that has incredibly awesome gunplay. Bungie, obviously they made Halo. They know how to make a great shooter just in terms of the shooting mechanics. And the core of this game, the support, the foundation, the gunplay is tremendous. And it saves this game from a lot of other little problems.
I mean, they did get the shooting right, which is obviously one of the big things you're going to want to get right in a first-person shooter. If you could call this a first-person shooter, because it's got many different gaming aspects
you can
to
call
it.
this a first person and you're shooting things.
You're first-person shooter, but then it goes into this like third-person mode where you're in the tower, which is like your home base, and you're walking around, and then you suddenly lose all the abilities that you gained. Well, why can't I double jump in this tower? There's a lot of things I found wrong with that. If you want to be a shooter, focus on the shooting part. You don't have to give me this hub. I can do this in a first-person setting, but I was still having one hell of an awesome time.
Well, that's what this game's all about. It's about the intimacy of playing with your friends, going through these very controlled, relatively small levels. It can take a while, especially the Strike Force missions have some really hard bosses.
Like half-an-hour battles, man.
You're just grinding it out, 20, 30 minutes shooting at a boss. It can really be frustrating, but it can still be fun because you're just putzing around with friends. And I gotta say, I love what they've done here in terms of adding this loot system, infusing this game with some of that Diablo. I've gotta keep playing, I've gotta get more items.
I gotta get that legendary purple armor and weapons.
It's what drives the game forward, and I think a lot of online shooters haven't done that. Now, obviously, the big comparison here is Borderlands, but I think what this game does better than Borderlands is those mechanics, the shooting. The gameplay is where Destiny saves itself, because if it didn't have incredibly awesome gameplay, we would just be frustrated and not want to keep going. But I think the gameplay here is so good, and jumping around and running around and equipping new awesome weapons, and you can't wait to see it, and just the look and feel of the game and the look and feel of the weapons. It's hard.
My dude looks like a Terminator.
You know, it's so easy though to take that stuff for granted. When we talk about shooters, we just talk about content and what they do and how many levels there are. We don't talk about just what it feels like to run around and shoot things. This is why Call of Duty games have been so great over the years. They just have a good feel. Destiny has a great feel, and I just had an awesome time running around with you and Vic and strangers and just killing things. It saves this game, I think, from mediocrity.
I'm definitely excited to see what the Destiny is for a game like Destiny, what the future holds, and that's why I'm giving Destiny 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 out of 10 myself. It's so much fun. A couple problems, but so much fun.
All Oh man, I love those guys. I could seriously watch them review anything. I could watch them review backgammon. Go ahead, review backgammon.
Okay,
8 and a 9. Okay, great.
We'll just wait on that. You know, Vic and I also review Destiny. You can find that review at epn.tv. But don't go anywhere because after the break, we're still on the Bungie train.
Welcome back to EP Daily. Are you a fan of the Master Chief? Well, you have come to the right place, my friends. There are 2 new Halo games for the iOS platforms. One is called Spartan Strike. The other is called Spartan Assault. Which one is better? What's new about them? Vic and Marissa have the answer.
EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by GameLoft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now.
I was a little concerned a while ago when there was a Halo game on a mobile device. I thought maybe it'd only stay on a Windows mobile device, but now we can play it on iOS, Victor Lucas. So that's exciting. But we're talking about 2 Halo games now. We have Halo Spartan Assault that came out a year ago on iOS devices, and Halo Spartan Strike that just came out recently, actually, earlier this year.
Ready up, Spartan. The data pad is near a downed spirit on the other side of the roof.
Assault was out on the Windows Phone. It also came out on Xbox 360, and it was kind of hampered by some in-app purchases, and it was a little bit clunky. It wasn't as good and as fun and as effortlessly enjoyable as it should have been.
Sure.
But it's been kind of tweaked and improved, and certainly you pay the price and you get the game kind of vibe from Assault now. But I think the real story out of these 2 is Strike is pretty phenomenal. It's one of the best of the dual-stick shooters you can find on the App Store right now.
Which is exactly how it should be.
Yes.
The successor should be the better. I am really excited about these games because I love twin-stick shooters. I absolutely love them, and I've been loving them more, especially on the iPad, because you wouldn't think they'd work so well, but they do. I mean, the controls here are pretty seamless. There are hiccups along the way, especially when you need to double tap on the screen or you need to exit a certain area.
Or it gets hot and heavy and your thumb starts to sweat a little bit and then it slides around.
You start slipping, because you don't have that tactile feedback of a controller. Oh God, Victor Lucas, don't even get me started with your friggin' controller.
I pull up the Moga Rebel or the little tiny controller that I have, and these games are unbelievably fun. And the cool thing about them is that they remind me of Halo Wars, which was that RTS, that top-down, good idea, but a little bit kind of inappropriate for a console kind of game that was released a few years ago. It was, I love the look and feel of it, but I wanted a more second-to-second action experience, and that's exactly what you get here. And if you get a controller, it's like you're playing an arcade sort of Robotron version of Halo on a tiny little arcade machine if it's on your phone. It's so fun.
But some people don't have these controllers.
Yes.
And I need to know if it'd be worth it for you if you didn't have a controller.
This is another reason you gotta get a controller now.
Oh my goodness.
If you have an iPhone and you're a gamer on your iPhone or your iPad, get a controller.
Not everybody carries man satchels.
Well, you get a man satchel first, a good one that you like. And then you get a controller because there are more and more awesome games like these 2 coming out, and Transistor was another recent one.
That's true.
This is totally justifying the purchase of this. It's so fun. It's so replayable as well because, all of this candy that comes at you is so addictive.
Yeah.
I mean, the dual stick shooters have that quality anyways, going right back to the roots, right back to Robotron. It's fun to replay these things. It's fun to just feel that sort of run and aim and shoot at the same time kind of vibe.
Yeah, because it's all happening at once. You're doing it so quickly and everything's coming at you. And I love, just Halo's so great with the mapping system and just knowing exactly what you need to do and where you need to go. There's no confusion there.
The vehicle controls are a little cumbersome, but pulling a guy off of their vehicle or out of a turret is still incredibly satisfying. It's amazing the minutiae of the moments. It's all been shrunk down to this little ant size, but it still feels like you're playing the first-person Halo experience, which hats off to the developers. Strike is way better than Assault, though. Assault is definitely aged. It doesn't look as good.
Strike
Meanders
is way better.
a little bit. Strike is better narratively.
I wish there was just a better way to throw a grenade. I just hate the double tap because you gotta stop and you gotta double tap. I know controller. Okay, yes, controller. Fine, I will take my controller with me everywhere I go from now on.
Get a satchel. What are you gonna give Halo Spartan Assault?
A Halo Spartan Assault gets a 7.
Gets an 8 from me on iOS. What are you gonna give Spartan Strike?
Gets an 8.5.
Now I'm gonna give that one a 9. Great work, Microsoft and 343.
So both games are super terrific. Well, there goes all my money. And listen, we answer a Twitter question after the break.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to EP Daily. It's time now for the Twitter question of the day. This one comes from Jeff Westlake. He's at JWest, 1983, I guess.
Yeah.
82 must have been taken. He asks, what PS2, Xbox, GameCube era game would you want to see an HD remake of?
Oh, what a great question.
Yeah.
I can think of 4. SSX3, I would love to see that totally redone. I've got, I'm such a nerd. I think Eternal Darkness on the GameCube deserves an HD remake. I think PsyOps deserves an HD remake. That was an old Midway game that was tons of fun. And I think Mechasalt from the original Xbox, I think, or Crimson Sky. There's 5.
Right. Crimson Sky, that's a really good one.
Yes,
I like that
right?
choice,
Okay.
but it's my turn now.
Okay, your turn.
I'm gonna go with Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh, that was my other one, yes.
No, it's mine.
Okay,
Let
you
me
can have
have
that
this
one. All
one.
right.
We'll
Okay.
divide it in the middle. I get Crimson Skies, and I get Super Mario Sunshine.
You got us thinking. Great question, Jeff. All right, if you've got any other questions or you want to watch full episodes of the show, go to epn.tv.
We've got more coming for you in the next episode of EP Daily, including a closer look at the Gears of War Ultimate Edition.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Now I want to play Super Mario Sunshine. EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox.
We have procedural maps, so you'll never see the same map twice. Procedural mission objectives, so the special missions that players may remember from Enemy Unknown, where you had to go do this specific thing, they're now layered on top and you don't know what you're gonna get and where on any mission type. So now you won't get that feeling of, I've seen this map before. It's gonna be different every time. We really wanted to increase replayability.
I've heard enough. Signal Gatecrasher. Take it down.
All right, Gatecrasher. Advent's little circus is dead ahead.